Hey y'all, I'm back to give you guys the latest Democratic primary state of the race. I got a lot of data here, and I'm going to break it down to you. Give you data so you know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to give you my 25 cents. I have to say, my track record has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. I'm not going to go down the list if I told you so, but I'm just saying, listen, if you want to know what's going to happen before it happens, this is the video for you. If you're the kind of person that don't like predictions, or not that I make predictions, I just make observations, but if you don't like to see where things are heading and you're going to be like, oh my God, no, I can't believe that you're trying to say what's going to happen after 2 white states have voted, turn this shit off and don't even come into my fucking comments. I don't want to hear your mouth. Because y'all been wearing my ass out recently. I was actually going to do this on Friday, but I said, you know what? Everybody's emotional. Everybody's sensitive. And it's Valentine's Day. I'm not trying to cuss nobody out on Valentine's Day. I got a concert to go to. I got too much shit to do. So I'm doing it today. Hopefully y'all can simmer down and be more open-minded to what the data tells us, okay? First 2 minutes on Twitter, then the rest of it's on my YouTube channel. Go ahead, subscribe, chat. It ain't that difficult. And then you can skip all this introductory shit. Another thing I have to say, another caveat is I don't have any endorsements to make. Observations are not endorsements. If the data favors a person, that is not me favoring that person. If the data is against that person, that's not me being against that person. It is what it is, Chad. Okay? I'm not even making too many predictions. When I want to make a prediction, I'll say so. I'm just telling you what the data says. Okay? I don't know exactly what everything is going to say because I've only been monitoring things as they come in. So I'm going to go with wherever the data tells me. Okay? Now, let's start off with the national aggregate data. I'm looking at projects.538.com. Their aggregate polling data. In first place, Bernie Sanders, 22.9%. Told y'all motherfuckers you need to, go against Bernie Sanders. Second place, Joe Biden, 16.7%. Third place, Michael Bloomberg, 15.9%. Didn't I tell y'all need to go against Michael Bloomberg? Elizabeth Warren down now 11.8% in fourth place. Then you have Pete Buttigieg 1 point behind Elizabeth Warren at 10.8%. Then you have a drop down to 4.7% with Amy Klobuchar. She ain't getting no surge nationally, Chad. She seems to be doing okay. Each race, she seems to be building a little bit more. But when it comes nationally, people ain't got shit for her ass just yet, okay? They need more time to be convinced. Then you have Tom Steyer, 2.1%, Chad. Tom Steyer, at this point, is like a spoiler. Then you have Tulsi Gabbard. 1.9%. Damn, Tom, you only 0.2% higher than Tulsi Gabbard nationally? Okay. That's the national data. Now, I do like to give you guys some of the individual polling results just to see, what different polls are saying. This poll from Zogby came out today. I don't know if it's Zogby, however the fuck you say it, okay? They're a C-rated pollster according to 530. I know y'all like to do the poll truth or shit. I just read the data, chat. I don't want to sit up there and try to break it down and discredit it because it ain't that serious to me. Sample size 732 likely voters has Bernie Sanders at 24%. Michael Bloomberg, second place, 20%. Biden, third place, 18%. Elizabeth Warren, fourth place, 10%. I'm going to take a drink for the Warrenistas. Wait, let me do that again. Okay, I'm already blocked. I've been blocked already by the Warrenistas. Okay, so, all right. Let me try one more time. Pete Buttigieg, 9%. Amy Klobuchar, 5%. Tom Steyer, 4%. Tulsi Gabbard, 3%. I'm not saying this is the poll is accurate. Okay, this is what the poll is telling you. You go ahead, discredit, have your excuses, whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I'm just telling you what the poll says. And that was conducted February 13th to 14th. I have to say I told you so. Because I told you motherfuckers back in December, I said, is anybody going to vet Michael Bloomberg? I said, is anybody going to go against Bernie Sanders? The people that gave the biggest passes to are the people that are leading right now. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that funny how that works out? But okay, y'all don't want to do that. Now y'all shook and panicked. But okay. They have a bunch of head-to-heads. I'm going to skip all that shit because it don't really matter. What is a head-to-head going to do? When you look at the head-to-head, child, let me tell you something. All this such is my second choice. It don't matter. You only get one choice on the ballot unless you're in a caucus, and then that's a different story. But all that second choice shit people try to say to try to be like, oh, yeah, I like this person, and this person is my second choice. You full of shit. You need to have one choice at this point. Anyways, let me go on and move on. I'm moving on. Morning consult. This poll has 2,639 likely voters. I know y'all like to know how many people were polled. 27 people. Does it matter? I know it matters, but I'm just saying. In this poll, Bernie Sanders is at 29%. Joe Biden is at 19%. Michael Bloomberg is at 18%. In fourth place this time is Pete Buttigieg with 11% and Elizabeth Warren with 10% and Klobuchar with 5%. Okay. All right. You guys get the drift. Now, I will go ahead and include this next poll because the Biden people, I'm sure you want good news. So to avoid getting blocked by a whole nother faction of people, I'm going to go ahead and read this poll, Chad. Even though this poster is rated C/D by 538. It's 479 likely voters. Biden is in 24%. So this is the poll where he's leading. Then you have Bernie Sanders with 21%, Michael Bloomberg with 16%, Warren and Buttigieg are tied at 11%. So that's good news for Biden. A poll where he's ahead by 3 points. And that poll was conducted February 7th through the 11th. Now, the 11th, if I'm not mistaken, that was New Hampshire. So that was a pre-New Hampshire poll. Hasn't been as much good news post New Hampshire and the national day that we have. Don't shoot the messenger. But it is what it is with that. Okay. So now you have the national picture. I'm going to go out of order. Normally I do the national, then I do the state stuff, and then I do the forecast stuff. But I'm going to go out of order this time. And I'm going to do the model, the forecast model. Well, maybe I should save it because sometimes like the national picture kind of belies what the model tells you because you have to understand that the forecast model is about delegate math. Okay. So that's on a state by state basis. You do not get national delegates. You only get state by state delegates. So I'm going to go on ahead. I'm going to stick with my normal program of how I do things. I normally go from the national to the state and then back to the forecast. So next up is Nevada. Like I will be doing a full scale Nevada, or Nevada. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Nevada, but the Cali in me pronounces it as Nevada. So I'm gonna stick with Nevada for now. But I'm acknowledging that it's probably supposed to be Nevada. So Nevada is, from what I've been told, is a difficult state to poll. Because it's a caucus state. There has been a lot of people that have turned out so far the first 2 days for early voting, which is good news. I don't know who it's good news for. You know, generally people think that higher turnout favors Bernie Sanders. So we'll see. There's some of the statistics I read, I don't have them handy right now. It's a lot of first-time caucusers. People generally tend to believe that is good for Bernie Sanders. I will say, not having the specifics of Pete Buttigieg's ground game. His ground game in Iowa was pretty effective, and I think he did pretty well with first-time caucusers himself. So that could be a Pete Buttigieg effect. It could be a Bernie Sanders effect. I don't know. But we do have some really, really interesting polls that have come out today on Nevada. So let's talk about, but before I get into the individual polls, let's just talk about the average, okay? I'm looking now on realclearpolitics.com. The polling average, this is the dates from January 8th to February 15th. This is the polling window. Has Bernie Sanders in first place at 26%. Then in second place, there's Joe Biden at 17%. Then you have Elizabeth Warren at 13.3%, Pete Buttigieg at 11%, Tom Steyer at 9.7%, Amy Klobuchar at 7.7%, then Tulsi Gabbard at 1.5%. So that's what the polling averages look like. Now, just to editorialize a little bit, I've noticed something very interesting out of the Biden camp recently that I'm a little confused as to the strategy. Now, on the one hand, I understand the strategy of projecting strength and trying to suggest that you're going to win Nevada because you want to instill confidence from donors, and you probably have to get a win in order for donors to stick with you. And so I guess you're like, yeah, we're going to win. Also, sometimes psychologically, what happens is if people are like, yeah, we're going to win, then that makes their voters or their supporters be more enthusiastic. So I understand that part of why Joe Biden's team seems to be kind of hyping up like his chances in Nevada. Like, oh, we have this endorsement and we have this momentum and we have this crowd size and things like that. I understand the psychological aspect of that. But then there's the data side of that, which I'm like not really understanding, because unless they have some internal data, it doesn't look like Joe Biden is going to win Nevada. So, normally when you're not going to win a state, you want to kind of lower expectations. You don't want to increase expectations. And everything that I've seen out of the Biden camp so far has been increasing expectations. They've been saying, oh, well, it's not fair to judge Joe Biden or any of these candidates on the white ass states because only white people have voted. Okay, well, in Nevada, you have a more diverse electorate. Now I'll get to that in a second. And so you kind of, if you don't win Nevada, after, again, raising expectations to the point to people expect you to win, and that's a relatively diverse state, then kind of, aren't you backing yourself into a corner there? I don't know. Seems like a strategic error to me. But like I said, because of the donor issue and Joe Biden needs to raise money, child. He might have no choice but to try to project strength and try to project that he'll win and just cross his fingers and hope that he'll win. But I wouldn't have necessarily gone that route. I wouldn't have increased expectations. Because everything I've heard from the Joe Biden people is, well, Joe was never supposed to win New Hampshire and Iowa. They're white states. A white male ex-president, the ex-vice president, sorry, not supposed to win a white state when everybody else is white. So, now I've given you my preview. Let me go ahead and get to the data. So, this is the aggregate data. I already went through that. Okay, so now, so the reason why I gave you that buildup. Because the polls that came out today are pretty wild. I'm not a poll truther, but these polls are pretty out there. And they're pretty bad for Joe Biden. So, again, I don't see any data to really support that Joe Biden is on track to win the caucus. Not to say that he can't win. It's not a prediction. It's an observation. But these polls that came out today are particularly bad. Okay, so let me start off with the better poll. Okay, this is from the Las Vegas Review Journal. This came out several days ago. If the polling date was 2/11 to 2/13. So that was, during the time where you had the New Hampshire voting going on. Now, some people say, oh, nobody pays attention to what these people are doing in the white states. Okay, that's fine. That's what you want to believe. I'm just telling you the time frame. 2/11 to 2/13. 413 likely voters surveyed. That put Bernie Sanders at 25%. Joe Biden at 18%. Elizabeth Warren at 13%, Buttigieg at 10%, Tom Steyer 11%, and Klobuchar at 10%. So that was what we would call a good poll, because that's Las Vegas Review Journal. They're pretty reputable. Now today there were two polls that came out. The first one, this organization Data Progress. I know nothing about it. Okay? Nothing about it, so I cannot vouch for it. I'm just telling you what the data says. This one, again, came out today. Polling window is 2/12, so the day after New Hampshire, to 2/15. It has Bernie Sanders at 35%. In second place in this one is Elizabeth Warren with 16%. Third place with this one is Pete Buttigieg with 15%. Fourth place is Joe Biden with 14%. Then you have Tom Steyer with 10%, Amy Klobuchar with 9%, Tulsi Gabbard with 2%. Now, people have pointed out that this one has, it seems to be heavily skewed towards older voters. Okay, that's fine. This poll can be complete bullshit, can be total garbage. I don't know if it is. I'm just giving you the data. If it is right, though, damn. How the fuck can Joe Biden justify being in fourth place, even behind Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren at 14%, when the diverse states were supposed to be better for him? Now, in this poll, let me just give you some of the demographics. I didn't see the data for black versus white, okay, but did have them among Hispanics. So among Hispanics, it had Sanders way ahead of the pack with 64% of the vote. Then you had Tom Steyer with 8%, Biden and Klobuchar tied with 7%, Elizabeth Warren with 5%, Buttigieg at 4%, Tulsi Gabbard with 2%. So that's what that poll is. Like I said, you can take it, you can leave it. I don't put on these polls. I don't have any affinity towards them. So if you want to say it's total bullshit, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. Another poll came out today. Let me see if I have it. Where is it at? Okay. Maybe not. I guess I don't have it. I thought I had saved it, but maybe I don't have it saved. So, yeah. So there were two polls. Another poll came out that was a little bit better for Joe Biden. Not that much better. It still did not have him in the lead. So, again, my question is, does it make sense that they spent the whole weekend pretty much raising expectations for Joe Biden to basically win Nevada? Did that make sense? It didn't make sense to me. Sorry, let me see. There's one more poll. Okay, nope, I guess not. Oh, okay, here we go. So wait, let me retract that. This poll is the poll that I'm going to read off now, is the one that had all the old people, okay? So the other poll, the Data Progress poll, is not the old people poll. This is the old people poll. This one is really, really weird. Really, 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 really weird. This one has Tom Steyer at 19%. First place, 19%. Amy Klobuchar at 16%. Amy Klobuchar could not name the president of Mexico. Joe Biden at 14%. Bernie Sanders at 13%. Pete Buttigieg at 13% and Elizabeth Warren at 7%. If Elizabeth Warren is at 7% in Nevada, y'all can't tell me that Elizabeth Warren ass ain't about to drop the fuck out. But I like I said, I'm not a poll truther person, but I don't believe that poll. I think that poll is total bullshit. So I did have the two polls confused. Now the other poll, now I'm realizing that what we're looking at was the Data for Progress poll. That one now seems a little bit more reasonable, okay? There's a lot riding on Nevada because there is another stretch between Nevada and South Carolina. Now, we know for a fact Amy Klobuchar is going to do poorly in South Carolina. Elizabeth Warren is going to do poorly in South Carolina. Pete Buttigieg is likely to do very poorly in South Carolina. So it's going to be more of a three-way race in South Carolina. It's going to be between Bloomberg, Buttigieg, and Bernie Sanders. But I will get to that in a second. But my point is that Nevada is going to be incredibly crucial. Now, when it comes to Elizabeth Warren stated a couple days ago, maybe 4 or 5 by now, that she needed to raise $7 million in 11 days between now and the Nevada caucuses in order to be competitive. Not competitive, to get critical funds for Super Tuesday. Now, I said at the time that critical funds means payroll overhead. You know, you got office rent, you know, you have travel, you have supplies, maybe a couple of events, things like that. Those events are not free. Not too much on ads, okay? That's what $7 million buys you. Now, she already had $5 million. Let's be clear. She had $5 million that she said she raised between Iowa and the time that she made her announcement. She needed an additional $7 million. Now, we know that Amy Klobuchar has raised $12 million that time. That's what Elizabeth Warren needs, right? But Elizabeth Warren ain't getting it. Fast forward, I think 2 days after she made her announcement. It was 2 or 3 days after she made her announcement that she needed $7 million. We can tell by what she said on Meet the Press or one of these Sunday shows, she had raised an additional $1 million. Because she said she raised $6 million from Iowa to the point of that Sunday appearance. That means you raised $1 million since you wanted $7 million. So, unless something has happened, Elizabeth Warren is not really getting what she needs in terms of money. If she doesn't do well in Nevada, how is she going to continue forward? She's going to lose badly in South Carolina. She's barely making payroll, if she's even making payroll. Things don't look good for Liz. I'm sorry. So y'all need to be donating. Don't shoot the messenger, child. Go ahead and donate to Liz. But I'm not seeing where she's gonna get that surge. I don't see the data in Nevada. Now, to be fair, in this Data for Progress poll, it does have her at second place, but that second place is 16% to Bernie Sanders 35%. That ain't gonna be enough. Now, Elizabeth Warren does not have big money donors, as she likes to point out. So perhaps her small dollar donors will go on ahead and pitch in $3, $5 for a call from Liz. I don't know. But okay. That's Nevada. That is February 22nd. 36 delegates. I'm going to get some water, jail. That's 36 delegates, February 22nd. Next after Nevada is South Carolina. Let's see what South Carolina is talking about. We don't have a ton of data out of South Carolina. Let's just be honest, right? But here's what the aggregate data is telling us. This is real clear politics again. Joe Biden, 26.5%. So he's still in the lead. And he's, I would say, comfortably in the lead. Then you have Bernie Sanders at 20%. Tom Steyer at 16%. Elizabeth Warren at 9%, Pete Buttigieg at 7.5%, Amy Klobuchar at 4.5%, Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I don't know what Amy Klobuchar is doing. She's raising money, and she's scaling up to the barest minimum. Now, keep in mind, at some point, Elizabeth Warren had 1,000 employees. Okay? Now, Amy Klobuchar, when it came to Nevada, she had just hired like 8 people or something like that I had read. Now, Elizabeth Warren had like 70 something. So we're talking about a very, very, very much, a much more lean operation that Amy Klobuchar has. I don't really know what Amy's doing other than maybe just trying to get these moral third place victories or second place victories for leverage, because she clearly does not have a path. She doesn't have a surge in her above what looks to be third place. She's not making any headway with minority voters. And she's raising money, but I don't know what for. So that's that on that. But anyways, there is a poll that came out today. ECU. Let me go here. East Carolina University poll. Joe Biden, 28%. Bernie Sanders, 20%. Tom Steyer, 14%. Pete Buttigieg, 8%. Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren are tied at 7%, and Michael Bloomberg is at 6%. Now, Michael Bloomberg is not on the ballot, and there's no right in South Carolina, so that's weird that he's included, but that's what that is. And that was conducted February 12th to February 13th. And then an earlier poll, this is from January 26th to January 29th, had Joe Biden again 25%, Bernie Sanders at 20%, Tom Steyer at 18%, Elizabeth Warren still down 11%, Buttigieg at 7%, Amy Klobuchar at 2%. So, this is a must win for Joe Biden. But the thing that I think makes it difficult for Joe Biden is that this is going to be considered the black state. I'm black, so I don't have any reason to diminish the black state. But that's kind of what, in my perception, Bernie Sanders did in 2016. He's like, well, yeah, Hillary Clinton is winning the black states, but I can win the white states. And so if Joe Biden has racked up a loss in Iowa, a loss in New Hampshire, a loss in Nevada, and then he comes out and he like squeaks out a 5-point win in South Carolina, I don't think that's going to hold a lot of weight. I know. Daggers are coming my way, right? Because black voters, black voters, black voters. Don't shoot the messenger. Poll donors are not going to stick with Joe because he got a 5% win in South Carolina after losing 3 other contests. So, Joe, I mean, if Joe was in like the 30s, I think that he would be in much better shape. But in the like mid 20s, that's not good. He's at 28% now in this ECU poll, which is very favorable to him. So if he can get up to 32, 30, then that might be different. But that's what his polling picture is looking like now. South Carolina is a bigger prize than Nevada. It's 54 delegates, and it's February 29th. Now, that is only a couple of days before Super Tuesday. So there's no reason, if you have hobbled your ass to South Carolina, to drop out. Literally no reason. So I don't expect people to drop out after South Carolina, other than for your ego. Because who wants to get like annihilated on Super Tuesday, right? Like if you go to Super Tuesday and there's 16 contests and then you're in like 5th place, or you're polling like 5%, you don't get any delegates, that's super fucking embarrassing, right? You would think people would have pride. So if you know getting fucking well, you're going to get wiped out on Super Tuesday, then yeah, you should probably drop out after South Carolina. Or for some of these people, just drop out after Nevada. Just save face, go out with some dignity, and drop out. Or if your strategy is, well, yeah, I'm probably not going to do worth half shit, but I want to have leverage, so I'm going to carry on to Super Tuesday. That's another strategy. I don't know which one is going to be, but I've already done my What Will Liz Do video, so y'all can go back and watch that and tell you if you want to know what I think Liz should do or what her options are. Other people are not so clear. Amy Klobuchar, I think, is pretty clear because she does not have a surge in her. And she doesn't have the infrastructure or anything like that. Now, Pete Buttigieg, people can argue whether he has a surge in him or not, but at least Pete Buttigieg does have a pretty professional operation. He is scaled up a little bit more than Amy Klobuchar because he's been raising more money for longer. And so, if I were to be bullish on any of these like come from behind candidates, it would probably be Pete Buttigieg. Definitely not Amy Klobuchar. But yeah, so that's that on that. And let me just give you a quick Super Tuesday picture. California is the big prize, or one of the biggest prize there. Bernie Sanders is not comfortably. Let me not say comfortably. I would say Bernie Sanders is ahead there. It's Bernie Sanders, Biden, and Warren. That's the order there. Michael Bloomberg not really showing up very highly on the polling data that Real Clear Politics has for that. There might be some newer data. But the data that they have is not very favorable to Michael Bloomberg. Texas, You have Joe Biden in the lead there. You have Bernie Sanders right behind him. Elizabeth Warren and Michael Bloomberg. So there are different results that are coming through. I won't go through all these because this has probably been long enough. But yeah, so Super Tuesday is going to be people duking it out. I think one of the things though is going to be, like I said, who drops out before Super Tuesday. The calculation that people will have to make. Do I want to try to get some delegates and just try to have a little bit of leverage, maybe for a cabinet position or for a VP position or in a broker convention? Or do I want to save face and not get humiliated, okay? And just get completely, just annihilated on Super Tuesday. I don't know what calculation people are going to make. I honestly cannot call it. Especially if people are relatively financially viable. They might flying around in private jets like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders like to do, or first class, things, or staying in nice hotels and getting food paid for by the campaign. They might like doing it. So why not? Why not stick around a little bit longer? I don't know. But let me just go on ahead and let me just close out this video with some forecast data. Now I'm going to look at the 538 forecast as I've been doing for a while. And this forecast is it takes into account a variety of metrics. And for the first time, I have to say this forecast is really catching up to kind of what I expected to happen, because I looked at this stuff back early January, if not December. I have to go back and check my receipts. And I said, we're probably heading towards a broker convention. For the first time in the 538 Democratic primary forecast, the odds, the number one slot of the odds of each candidate's winning more than half of the pledged delegates is nobody. That is the highest probability right now. Nobody wins more than half the pledged delegates. 2 in 5 chance of that, 37%. Haven't I been saying we're going to probably have a broker convention? And honestly, the thing that made me feel like we probably wouldn't have a broker convention was the fact that I was thinking at least you had somebody like Elizabeth Warren who would get enough delegates to where she can make a deal with Biden or she can make a deal with Bernie Sanders. She ain't even showing up on a radar scale, child, to have any kind of delegate leverage. So I think that's why the no one odds have gone to the top. So number one in this state of the race update is nobody gets more than half of the pledged delegates. Number 2 is Bernie Sanders. 36%, 1 in 3 chance of him winning the majority of pledged delegates outright. 1 in 7, third place, Joe Biden, 14%. Y'all don't want to hear that, but that's what the forecast says. Then you have Michael Bloomberg at 1 in 12 odds, or 8%. Now, I've never predicted that Michael Bloomberg would get a majority of the pledged delegates. What I've said is that a broker convention probably favors Michael Bloomberg, because presumably he'd have a lot of allies with the money that he's throwing around and the fact that he has the most money. It's like, listen, if you're in July at this point or June, you ain't got time to play catch up, child, with raising money. So why would not just pick the rich ass motherfucker? Not an endorsement. Just saying. Then you have Pete Buttigieg. Now he's at 1 in 30 chance, 3%. And then you have Elizabeth Warren, 1 in 50 chance of winning the majority of pledged delegates, 2%. Now, there are a lot of people. There's a lot of angst, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment that Elizabeth Warren isn't doing better. That's on Elizabeth Warren. She's gotten a chance to compete. She's gotten a chance to raise money. The demographics of Iowa and New Hampshire greatly favored Warren. She didn't deliver. All right. range of forecasted outcomes. So the average forecast of pledged delegates is Bernie Sanders. He gets the average forecast of pledged delegates for Bernie Sanders is 1,519. The magic number is 1,991. So you need 1,990 to get the nomination. All right. And the range of people who might be willing to make a deal with Bernie Sanders, not that many people. The only person I can think of really is Elizabeth Warren. She's forecasted on average to get 256 delegates. So that's assuming that she don't drop out before Super Tuesday. I don't see that she has the money to move forward past Nevada. If she was raising what she needed, I think she would have been making an announcement, hey, we've raised $3 million, keep it going. I haven't seen nothing like that, though. So more than likely, she's going to be out after Nevada. But if she makes it to Super Tuesday, then maybe she gets 256 delegates. So that's the person that's likely to make a deal with her. Now, Pete Buttigieg has an average forecast of 427 delegates. Will he make a deal with Bernie Sanders? I don't know. Maybe. If it gets him VP, I don't know. But Pete Buttigieg is Mr. Medicare for all who want it. Bernie Sanders is Mr. Medicare for all. So we have to see who thinks whatever. But Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders with 5, 15, 19, and 427 still does not get you to 1,991. So now y'all see why broker convention is the highest probability. Joe Biden, 847 on average. Michael Bloomberg just behind Joe Biden at 806. So I would not say that this race is anywhere sewn up. I've actually said time and time again that I think we're probably heading towards a broker convention. Now, what I will say is that some people are not viable because of finances. Elizabeth Warren is not viable long-term because of finances unless something changes. Now, Roland Martin, I was on Roland Martin's show. I'm on there every Thursday. Check me out, Roland Martin Unfiltered Show. And he seemed to believe that maybe a good debate performance would create a surge in donations and a surge in polling for her. I'm not inclined to believe that because I think that Elizabeth Warren's support is pretty much built in. Amy Klobuchar, a lot of people are still kind of discovering Amy Klobuchar. And they're like, oh, okay, I see what she's talking about. Let me go ahead and donate to her. I think that Warren has gone to the wall with her supporters being completely relying on small donors, minus the $10 million that she rolled over from her Senate race. People are probably like, man, fuck you and this extra $5. I already gave you all my goddamn $5. Nickel and dime people to death, yeah, especially when you losing races and shit, your poll numbers are dropped. That's hard. That's hard to get more people to donate to you. But, maybe. It's possible. But I don't see Warren past Nevada. Shit, she might not even make it to goddamn Nevada if she don't get the money that she needs. Unless she's gonna come up out of her pocket. She is worth $10 million. So maybe she could spare $1 million or so. Or maybe she'll go on ahead and chance it. But if you need 7 and you've gotten 1, maybe 2, that's not enough. Right? You quite a few million short. So yeah. Not a prediction, just an observation. So yeah, I don't know, Chad. But it looks like it's going to be mostly a race between Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Michael Bloomberg. I think Joe Biden would have been in a much better position if he had gone after Bernie Sanders. I think they all would be in a much better position if they had gone after Michael Bloomberg. But people treated this race like it was static and like, whoa, for Biden, I'm in the lead. I don't need to punch down. Or everybody else, I'm in the lead. I don't need to punch down. Turns out that punching down is the right thing to do. Keep these motherfuckers down. Now, they had all that energy for Kamala Harris. They had all the energy to punch down for her. But they didn't have none of the energy to punch down towards each other. So it is what it is with that. So this is where I will leave it. There's more data I can go through, but I think it's pretty clear what we're looking at. I think Nevada will be very crucial. I will be back with a Nevada breakdown. Hopefully there'll be some more data. I don't know. Maybe we just don't care about Nevada like that because I've seen about 2 or 3 polls. For it to be a pretty crucial state, I would have expected more polls, but people are like, I don't really care. So I will be back with that, explaining how the Nevada caucuses work, giving you a preview of that. Then we have the debate that's also coming up this week. So far, Michael Bloomberg has not qualified, but he's only 1 poll away from qualifying. Tom Steyer has not qualified. He doesn't appear to be closer to qualifying based on the window that he has to qualify with. So it's possible Michael Bloomberg will be on the stage this week. Probably not possible for Tom Steyer to be on the stage. We'll see what Michael Bloomberg has to work with. I haven't been impressed with his off-the-cuff remarks, so I would not be bullish at all on a good Michael Bloomberg performance. But then again, who's watching the fucking debates anymore anyway? People are mostly tuned out, and all you really need is like one moment. I mean, pretty much there's one moment that's focused on for each debate, and everybody else goes on about their business. So will it be that damaging? Probably not. So that's what's coming up. So I will have, like I said, a Nevada preview. I might do a debate kind of recap. Maybe a Q&A throughout the week. We'll see if you guys want me to answer some questions, and if people aren't so pissy at how their candidate is doing, then I will potentially be back. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to eat my dinner. I know wine before dinner does not sound like the right order, but cheers and good luck to your candidates.